Welcome back in Las Vegas to the Hollywood Hotel and Casino. Your credit is good with us. Look at the odds here. They've installed Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch is the 5-1 favorites. And you've got Dale Jr. at 9-1, Tony Stewart 10-1. By the way, the Red Sox favored to win the World Series. You'll see that on Fox in October.
You know, I want to go to the same casino that Steve was talking about because Kyle's only 5-1 on this, and he was 10-1 on Steve's book.
Well, we're just following the odds. Remember, the Patriots were favored in the Super Bowl. We all remembered how that happened. Right. To win today may require well-thought-out strategy along with the same luck that comes with a roll of the dice. And we'll make the call on the driver of the 16-car, Greg Biffle. His best finish on this track is 6th, but when it comes to the casino, nobody beats the Biff.
I got a great story. Typically, craps is what I play. I'm going to take, $400. I started gambling and lost my money. I was down to about $80 in about 20 minutes, and then I won back to about $650. And a guy at the other end of the table got the dice, and he rolled for 2 hours and 45 minutes, 3 hours probably. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've got $17,000 in chips in front of me. It was an incredible event, I showed up with $400. I just couldn't believe that happened.
I love the reenactment. They did a pretty good job with that.
They did.
Yeah.
As the drivers are introduced.
Let me tell you, I put all my trust in Goodyear, not good luck.
Those Goodyear tires. There's a lot.
That right.
There's a lot riding on those.
Me.
All right. Earlier we talked with Kyle Busch, and under the FCC Equal Time Racing Brothers Act, we have to hear from Kurt Busch, the older brother, also the hometown hero. His best finish 3rd in Vegas, currently 4th in the point standings. Kurt standing by with Matt Yoakum.
Catching up with Busch the elder. Now, first off, when you come to your home track in your hometown, how many tickets do you have to request for all your friends?
We've got to do a couple extra of appearances, get them up on the grandstands, but yet it's a great time. Everybody loves this track and the atmosphere here, and it's time to hammer down. It's finally race day.
When you look at what it means to come back here, your mom's been a season ticket holder here since the place opened. Special place. What would it mean to finally get a W?
I just grew up racing over across the little track on the 3/8 mile every Saturday night. Watched this place get built from the ground up, and it's very special just to be able to race here, and then to win, I think I'd come unglued. I think the whole house would come down, and everybody's pulling for us. Everybody says they got a lot of money riding on the 2-car, so we're hoping to do it.
He hopes to score that first W here at his home track. Krista?
Right along in the truck with Matt Kenseth, who starts 13th. And Matt, it's the same track, but a new car. You've had a lot of success here. Is that going to carry over?
It's a dangerous interview. You guys can't see it, but Krista's ready to fall out of the truck. I hope so. It's a different racetrack than what we had, until last year, and it's a different car than we've ever raced here before. But so far, I've been pretty happy with my USG Sheetrock Ford. It's been driving pretty good. Our speed's been reasonable, so I'm looking forward to the day.
Back-to-back wins in 2003 and 2004. And Chris, yes, I'm surfing in the back of this truck. This is the beauty of live television. At any moment, I could roll right out.
Well, we could hear the wind in the microphone,
Oh, yeah.
and you need that. It's a 3-can hairspray can kind of a day.
You ought to know.
Yes, I have it lacquered. If I fall over, my head
Already used two.
Hey, Toyota drivers lead all 3 series, right? When you talk about points, I know it's early.
Yeah.
But in today's race, Ford has the fewest number of entries. Yet with Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, probably a pretty good chance to win.
They've got a really good chance, I think, of winning. When you think about the success that Roush Fenway has had at this racetrack, you cannot rule these guys out. Matt Kenseth is one of the smartest drivers on the circuit. You see how hot right now Carl Edwards is. So you got to believe that these 2 drivers, if anybody's going to get to victory lane, it's got to be one of them.
When I look at the numbers from this racetrack, 3 names pop up almost every time. Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, and Jimmy Johnson. Those 3 guys have dominated this racetrack. Only 2 race teams, Hendrick and Roush, have dominated here as a team. Ganassi has 1 win with Sterling Martin back in 2002, so that's where your winner is going to come from.
Yeah.
All right, today's race, the 3rd of the 36 that are scheduled for the year. This is the first full season for what was once NASCAR's Car of Tomorrow, and as we found out last week in Fontana, when it comes to the new car, we continue to pick up more and more knowledge. And speaking of picking up, Daryl and Jeff here.
Looks like I'm breaking on the dodgeball court, man. I'm having to touch up the debris out here.
He has something on his grill.
Greg Biffle has debris on the grill. He's overheating.
The expression "get in your grill" has a lot of meanings. Get in your grill could mean that it's time for George Foreman to start barbecuing, or for Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Hammond to do some explaining in the AutoZone pit zone.
today here at Las Vegas, we're expecting the high winds, and it could create a problem like we saw at California. That means a lot of debris coming out of the grandstands, out of the infield, that could wind up on the racetrack, and unfortunately can wind up on the front nose of these cars.
I remember a couple of times I'd be racing along, and I'm running 190 miles an hour. I'm not out there just cruising. And you'd say, how's your gauges? Well, you know, being kind of annoyed anyway, I'd say, what do you want to know for? The gauges are fine. And then all of a sudden you'd look down and you'd see your water temperature gauge peg.
Exactly.
And you'd say, oh my gosh, I'm running hot.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get down off the AutoZone pit box and take a look at what we're talking about here. Now, Darrell, you know temperature's one thing that you get into, but also when this debris gets on the front nose of this grill, well, the other problem we get into, it's like taping the front nose up. And when these pieces of debris get up here and get locked up on the front nose, not only does the temperature go up, but it could change the balance of the race car. That means the car all of a sudden could get a little bit loose. Even though the temperature's not critical, the car could all of a sudden be undrivable.
Now, on the old cars, this was the grill opening. This is where you took all the air in. And so stuff would hit here and it would sometimes blow off. Here, it gets locked back up into this cavity, and it's pretty hard to get off. There's a couple of little tricks as a driver you can do, though. If you recall last week at Fontana,
Jamie McMurray
yeah.
Up, his crew chief tells him to pull up behind the car, and all of a sudden the wind got away from the front of the deal, and this stuff here all of a sudden it didn't stick as much, and again it dropped away, and it kept him from having to make an extra pit stop. So you've got to be able to understand sometimes when the crew chief calls in and says, driver, check your gauges, there's a reason, and sometimes when the driver says, crew chief says, pull up behind another driver, there's a reason for it, guys.
All right, nice work. You know, you think so, what is it, aerodynamics? Yes,
yeah.
Right, that everything would just kind of blow by there. But obviously, so what can you do about it once it's
this
there?
new car has that cavity down there between the splitter and the bumper. I think if it were I don't know, Jeff, you've worked on this car a little more than I have, I would open that bumper area up. That doesn't get paper on it, and let that bottom plug up all at once.
You cannot lose the downforce on the front of these grills. If we take a look right here at what's going on today, air temperature about 58 degrees, but watch what the wind's doing. It's coming steady, 20 miles an hour. It could gust up as much as 40 miles per hour. You're going to see a lot of debris being blown around this racetrack when they drop the green flag today, and it will probably have somebody on pit road when they don't want to be.
I'll still give up downforce. Stay out of the pits. That's a lot better than.
Yeah, that's him talking here. He was in that race car. He'd want all the downforce.
You know me. I always think outside the box.
And I'll work on aerodynamics. Okay. Both on and off the track in Las Vegas. Magic acts are always crowd pleasers. Lance Burton puts on a great show in this town, and he's twice won the Magician of the Year by the Academy of Magical Arts. I asked Lance Burton to saw Jeff Hammond in half.
Good.
At the very least. He couldn't do that. It wasn't in the cards.
Probably dull as blade.
We are backstage with Master Magician Lance Burton. Lance, it's great to meet you in person. It's
Chris,
a pleasure.
Thank you, my
Chris
pleasure.
And Jeff.
Yeah.
And you're doing a little trick for us?
I'm going to do a little trick, Jeff. I'll try a little experiment for you. Why don't you hold your hand out like that, palm down, make a little table for me.
Yeah, okay.
This is a test of your imagination. I want you to imagine that there are 4 playing cards laying on the palm of your hand. Now, that's the easy part because there are 4 cards. Okay. But I want you to imagine those are the 4 queens. That would be a really good hand if you're a poker player. Now, if I were to reach in there and remove 2 of the queens of the same color, in your imagination, which ones did I remove? The red ones or the black ones?
The red ones.
The red ones. Okay, good. That would be the queen of diamonds and
the
hearts.
queen of hearts.
Okay, now if I were to place them back, but I were to turn one of them upside down, in your imagination, which one did I turn upside down?
The queen of the hearts.
Of hearts. So in other words, in your imagination, out of the 4 cards, the one that's upside down would be the Queen of Hearts.
Oh.
Now, I don't want you to think that that was a sleight of hand trick, that I somehow flipped that card over at the last second. That's why I brought the Queen of Hearts from a different colored deck. In fact, I didn't even bring the other queens, which just goes to show you have a great imagination.
Wow, mind reading. Are those blank cards? That's what was on his mind? Great work. That was very impressive.
Thank you
very impressive. How did you...
Deep sleep.
All right, Lance, can you tell us how you did that?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Tell him. You tell him?
Look into my eyes. Go to sleep.
He was. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I was blown away, folks. I could not believe what that man did.
That's just a sample.
And he stood there and watched.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's just a sample of what he does, Darrell. But to get Jeff to go, I told him that Lance was related to Jeff Burton.
Yeah. I thought we were going to talk racing.
Now, my desperado buddy here, you know. Queen of Hearts. You got to watch her, boy.
He's not related.
I know why you picked the Queen of Hearts.
Exactly.
He's not related to Ward Burton either. All right, so you're going to head up to the broadcast booth and have some fun.
How about you disappear? here.
All right, the start of this race, though, the start of this race could be a little crazy. You think guys are going to play it safe?
No, I think it's going to be. Look at that trash. Look at all the trash they're cleaning up around here. We got a mess on our hands.
Told you we got a lot of debris.
The debris field is already large.
That's not on the track. It could be. All right, Darrell, we appreciate it. Have fun upstairs with Larry and Mike. Jeff and I will be down here. Will Jimmy Johnson win for a fourth straight time? Can Dale Earnhardt Jr. win for the first time in 65 races? What are the odds we'll get a surprise winner? It's all ahead on Fox.